Okay, so after the one part of the lecture on Friday that you all were able to hear, we finished off by beginning that lecture with the discussion on water-soluble vitamins. So we're going to start with vitamin C, which is also known as ascorbic acid. This is an antioxidant in our body, and it provides or participates in the formation of many vital components. This is going to be our thyroid hormones, neurotransmitters, part of our DNA. Many people think of this as only a protection against infections, but it's also really important for the way in which our body functions in hormone and chemical communication, even within our neurotransmitters. It does enhance the body's ability to absorb iron from plants, and it can work as an antihistamine. Its key role is actually in collagen formation, so it's really important for that. And it also has been, cases been made for protection against infections and a reduced risk of heart disease and cancer. Again, a deficiency results in scurvy. We already talked about that. This was the vitamin that really helped us to understand that the absence of something beneficial can lead to disease. So as you can see here, vitamin C is a very important component to have in our diet. It's in most fruits and vegetables, and I think that that's what's so beautiful about creation is that we see that the components of food that we need regularly are found in many things that we eat. Some of the highest sources of vitamin C is in citrus fruits, tomatoes, broccoli, strawberries, kiwi fruit, peppers, and cabbage. And strawberries and kiwi fruit actually have higher amounts of vitamin C than your citrus fruits of oranges, which is helpful because some people can't eat citrus fruits because they may have an allergen. So again, it's found in most foods. But one of the things that we have to remember about vitamin C, and there is lots of supplements out there where you could boost your, talks about your immune system by taking this. Remember that it's water soluble and it's not going to be stored. Whatever you don't use for the day gets flushed out. So really, if you eat a healthy, well-balanced diet on a regular basis with a variety of fruits and vegetables, which we'll talk about in a minute, you will get the vitamin C that you need in your system to help fight infection more regularly. And we don't need to have huge infusion based on these kind of things. Collagen, just so everybody knows, because this is a key role that vitamin C plays in, is a fibrous protein that actually helps to strengthen and support our conductive tissues throughout the body. So we have lots of collagen throughout our body. All structures in our body would deteriorate without collagen. And so vitamin C plays a really important role in this. The one thing we also have to remember, though, is certain vitamins that we consume with other foods can actually reduce the likelihood of absorption. The more calcium an individual consumes, the less efficient the body becomes in absorbing it and vitamin C, and so we have to be careful with when we consume some of these vitamins, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. Thiamine, or vitamin B1, is a coenzyme that aids all cells of the body, and because all the bodies use energy that requires this vitamin. It helps to break down glucose, make RNA and DNA, and it aids in protein synthesis. So it's really important in our body for the creation of things that, protein is how our body functions. Creates that. RNA and DNA is the way in which we read our genetic material to create the proteins we need. And it aids all cells of the body in using energy. So it's really important. A deficiency in thiamine will actually lead to beriberi, which is a nerve destruction and muscle weakness. It can arise in as little as 10 days. This is found often in westernized countries in alcoholics. Alcoholics have a vitamin B1 deficiency. And in developed countries, we see this among refugees and displaced populations. This is largely because of less access to good sources of food. We can find this in pork, beans, certain types of fish, and it's also been enriched in green products such as breads and cereals. So most of us in the United States, unless we are classified as an alcoholic, will get this regularly in the foods that we consume because our country consumes a large amount of grain products. However, we do want to remember that if we eat a well-balanced diet, again, we will get this. And again, a deficiency can arise in as little as 10 days and result in beriberi, which is a nerve destruction and muscle weakness. So it's important that we consume this vitamin as well. Riboflavin is vitamin B2. It assists in releasing and using energy within cells, so it actually helps to utilize the energy we consume. Deficiencies will lead to severe malfunctions of bodily systems, and a big result is anemia. It also disrupts the body's ability to properly metabolize other nutrients. So this is a key vitamin for the function of actually metabolizing nutrients and providing energy. Sources of riboflavin is in milk and in animal liver. So if you're someone who loves liver, you actually get a big dose of vitamins because it can be found in those sources. And then, of course, drinking milk. So it is important to consume some level of milk. A lot of our other forms of milk, like lactose and almond milk, may have this fortified into it if we're not consuming cow's milk, as I said before. Niacin is the next vitamin, vitamin B3. It aids, again, in metabolizing energy, and it also is important in synthesizing fatty acids. The body can make this from the amino acid tryptophan or obtain it from food. And a deficiency will result in pellagra, which is basically the 4 Ds, dermatitis, diarrhea, dementia, and death. And so it just kind of follows this. So you first start with dermatitis, then you start with diarrhea. It leads to diarrhea. You start to have dementia-related symptoms, and then it could lead to death if it goes prolonged without the use of niacin. Sources of it are found in meat, poultry, fish, and nuts. However, high doses of it can result in liver damage. So again, this is one of those types of sources that we want to eat regularly. If we eat a well-balanced diet, we'll get it, but we don't want to overconsume it with supplementation because it could result in liver damage. So a good thing is a good thing, but too much of it can result in problems. Pyroxidine is our next vitamin. This is vitamin B6. It's involved in protein and amino acid metabolism and aids in the conservation of essential amino acids into non-essential forms. So this again is very important for the utilization of these types of components in our body. Deficiencies of this can lead to anemia, damage of the nervous system. It can also cause depression and confusion, and can lead to an increased risk of heart disease. Sources of vitamin B6 are meat, fish, and poultry. You can also find it in bananas and sunflower seeds. I'm just going to pause the lecture for a moment here before we go on to the next vitamin, because I think this clearly helps you to see, as you start to look at these deficiencies, that sometimes remember that the disease that someone is having is not the result of some other illness or infection that they're getting, but maybe the absence of something beneficial. So one of the things that I highly recommend for my healthcare providers, future healthcare providers, is think about the possibility of testing your patients for vitamin deficiencies. Some of the symptoms that they may be experiencing, particularly if you can't find or pinpoint a specific cause, could be because they're lacking a nutrient, which is actually probably more common in our country than we can really think of. Because if you remember, one of our first slides was overconsumption, undernutrition. So by simply adding supplementation of a vitamin and or improving their nutritional diet can not only lower the risk for chronic diseases, but can also help to reduce some of these other effects that individuals could be facing. So don't underestimate vitamin deficiency in individuals' symptom diagnosis, because that could be something that could occur. I was having some years ago severe fatigue, some differences in being tired, and some emotional issues related to that. And we tested my vitamins and found that I was severely deficient in vitamin B12. And when we added that back in through supplementation, we saw a significant improvement in my symptoms. So it really can make a difference, as just an example personally in terms of this. We see this also with vitamin D deficiency. Many people can have, with vitamin D, as I talked before, experiencing some of those symptoms related to various factors of vitamin D, and just by simply supplementing that, especially in winter months, can improve mood and energy for individuals. Vitamin B9 is also called folate or folic acid. Most of you will hear about this for maternal health. It's critical in preventing birth defects in spina bifida and neural tube. Plays a major role in DNA synthesis, cell division, and red blood cell maturation. It can also reduce the risk of colon cancer by 75% and breast cancer by 50%. Body will absorb 100% of this particular vitamin from supplementation or enriched sources, but only half from natural food sources. So this is one where I would actually recommend supplementation for over natural food sources. All the other vitamins, I'm going to encourage food sources, because we absorb it better from food sources than we do supplementation, with this exception. And so deficiencies, in terms of this is one of the most common deficiencies in the U.S., but sources can be found in enriched breads, flours, cornmeal, pastas, rice products. You can also get it in your vitamins. And of course, this is one of the big components found in prenatal vitamins, which is why it's highly stressed in women, particularly those that are wanting to become pregnant, to start taking a prenatal vitamin before they even are pregnant, because it's, again, really important in the development of the child. Cobalamin is vitamin B12. This is essential for the conversion of folate into its active form, so it's really important for that as well. It can only be acquired through manufactured sources. It originated from bacteria and can be stored in the liver for years. So one of the best sources of this is animal liver. It's stored with B12. And then fortified cereals can also utilize this as well. So it's an important vitamin. And again, it helps to convert folate into its active form. So it's needed in order to utilize or develop folic acid. And again, it plays a major role in DNA synthesis, cell division, red blood cell maturation, which is why you can understand fatigue-related aspects could play a role in that. Pantothenic acid, or vitamin B5, is involved in energy extraction from foods, helps to build fatty acids, and has a universal role in the body. So, of course, it's found in almost every food source. So you can see, again, there's no one vitamin that's more important than the other, but you can see that the ones that are used more versatile in the body are found in almost every food source. And I think this is just a beautiful example of how creation has been used to, we have what we need if we just eat and consume what we have been directed to do. Biotin, or B7, is an amino acid metabolism, involved in amino acid metabolism and DNA synthesis. We can find this in cauliflower, liver, and cheese. So again, if you're a liver eater, you are on the right track towards getting all of your vitamins. If not, you just need to eat a well-balanced diet, and you'll see those aspects coming through. So those are basically our vitamins that we have, fat-soluble and water-soluble, and the various components. You will need to know the correct names for them, not just B6 or B12. I want you to know the actual name for those vitamins, and then, of course, what their primary roles are, and maybe food sources that you can find. Minerals are another component that we need. These are elemental atoms or ions rather than compounds, so all of our vitamins are going to be a compound. These are just sort of one atom or ion. We're needed in small amounts, and the body generally absorbs them in small amounts. Fiber and phytate greatly increases your body's ability to absorb minerals when they're needed, as well as eliminate them when they're not. So it's really important, again, to get good fiber sources in your body to be able to absorb or not absorb minerals as needed. Sources of minerals are typically found both in animal and plant-based, but the mineral content in soil really is going to play a role in what those minerals are. And so one of the things that we have to remember is, and one of the things we do also in public health, and we talked about this back in the public health triad, is to practice farming practices that rotate crops and reintroduces new soil in, or changes fields over time to let new minerals grow in specific areas. And also, while we're concerned about pollution and or acid rain because it can destroy the mineral content in soil and result in less minerals that we are able to eat or consume. It's not affected by heat processing like vitamins.